Our Love, Diary of a Prince, written by Cameron Holder. Chapter 9, December 31st, 1750. Hello, my precious diary. It has been what feels like centuries since we last talked. In the time from my last entry to now, I have visited Priscilla only twice. The first time we were out in the garden of her mansion. We were chasing the butterflies around and playing old child fairy games like we did when we were both much younger and faster. The sun rays forced us to halt our game and take a rest by the roses. We sat down and discussed our plan for when we return to Rome to continue our studies. Priscilla said that she will continue her affair with that tall boy with the blue eyes to no earth's end. She is not worried about school because she feels her life has been enclosed in only studies and not about living. I fully admire her diary for wanting a life where she can make more friends and potentially make this mystery man a husband. She wants to introduce this man to her parents, but is afraid they will not accept this engagement, so for now, she will keep her secret to herself. In the corner of my mind, I knew that discussion would end soon enough. I asked her what she thought about the prince. She said that he is not a man of good stature. He has lost many battles. He seems to be egotistical, and his hygiene could be improved. I do not blame her for a moment, in my opinion. This was a rough start to my seductive plan, however. I asked her why not give him another chance, without her family being surrounded by them, and talk about what both of them want out of this situation. Priscilla knocked me back down to earth when she said she does not find the prince interesting in the slightest, and she wants the freedom to make her own choice in a man that will satisfy her. Women have a rough duty in this society, and that's choosing the right man to develop the right family and the right image to secure a successful position in this life. Fathers ultimately are the marionette masters that control the outcome of their daughters, but I fear Wilfred has a reluctant child who would rather see Italy burn to the ground or have Venice flood before she marries into the royal family. Priscilla believes that Wilfred and Julia want to be a part of the royal family in order to make deals and have assurance that the church stays in power, both financially and diplomatically, within Europe. They really do not care about how she feels or if she is in love. It is the royal family, so if you can get your opportunity to tie the knot, you take it. Her parents think that if she can give birth to a royal child, then the family is set to live in an abundance of luxury. I told her that the prince is viewed as a powerful man with protections underneath his title, and she would not have to suffer at all. She would not need to perform in ballets and entertain for money when she could have all the money in the kingdom. She would become a ballet teacher instead. Hundreds of servants at her whim, fine dresses made tailored just for her, ballerinas dancing for her enjoyment, lush food from any country, and the ability to obtain land for her future family. But she developed a hatred of the idea and told me that her love should not be a business ruling. Money has no place in the subject of love. Two people should not have a greedy heart when they decide to get married. Priscilla wants a real relationship where she can depend on a man for emotional support. Someone to build her up and encourage her to do good things in life for the better. Having money as the core value will ruin any chance at genuine affection. I do not disagree at all, and I wanted to cry out the truth, but my thoughts kept me in chains to her father. She was becoming angered by my constant persistence and did not want to talk any further. She left me in the garden alone, so I had time to think about what I could do to protect myself and my lord. Maybe Augustus can come live with me in Rome. So many astronomers live there, and he can find better resources to elevate his desire for the discovery of the unknown. Maybe we can both move to another country that would have us live in peace. I just want my life to have peace like a sunset. Colorful, still, mesmerizing, hard to look at, but you know that you must take a glance to keep in your memory until you see it again. Whatever happens, diary, I want you to know that you are the greatest friend I could ever ask for. I love you dearly, and nobody can take my words from your pages. My words will live beyond my lifetime, and hopefully someone in the future who is alike in my fashion can look at this and keep fighting for a better life for humans like us. My second encounter with Priscilla, She came to my home and had lunch with me and my brother. I reintroduced the notion of marrying Prince William, and immediately she rejected my proposal before I could tell her how much happier she would be. She told me that she will do anything to be on stage as a prima ballerina, and no one is going to halt her destiny. My brother interrupted, and I told him to leave. I had to open up my heart to her and tell her what her father told me. She was alarmed to know that Wilfred had the power to publicly humiliate my name and parade me as an outcast in the name of God. I told her that Augustus suggests that we not see each other until things go back to the way they were once before, but for that to occur, she needs to agree to this marriage. Diary. She still declined her father's order, and she told me that she cannot marry such a man as him. My life is in potential turmoil, and bad things could happen to me any day. She said that she wished there was something she could do to help me and her brother, but marriage is out of the question. I yelled at her and called her a bogus friend. I needed her to save me. Is that not what a friend is supposed to do? If I were in her slippers, I would sacrifice myself to save my friend from humiliation, exile, or worse. I cried and begged her to change the course of her mind for me. I told her that her father has the influence to turn the whole city against me, and I do not want to face death at my doorstep. I have lived too little and not seen enough to be satisfied with 17 years of living. Tears were falling down her face as she said that one disheartening word to me. No. If she will not save me, then I will have to save myself. The next moment came and went at the speed of a shooting star. I slapped her in agony. She looked at me, then ran out of my room, and I have not talked to her all day. I feel like a monster, but my life is on the line. What else could I have said? Nothing is going to change her mind, so the best thing to do was show her how I felt. I need to make a journey to see my love before anything happens. I will make sure to keep safe, diary. I promise you will hear from me in the near future. Good night, my true friend. Stefan. January 14th, 1751. Hello, my true dear friend. Please save your worries about me for a later time. I have much to tell you about what happened since my last talk with you. I went to see Augustus in private at the Garden of Eden, is what I like to call it. We did not speak for what felt like years. We only gazed in each other's eyes and kissed deeply. He held on to me so tightly I thought I would suffocate, but I did not care. He was my protection. He was my savior from this evil. I asked about Priscilla, and he told me that she had a discussion with her parents. Wilfred was not pleased at all that his plan was uncovered, and he was trying to force her to promise her hand in marriage to Prince William, or she would be disowned from the family. She never faltered in her belief to find love on her own with clarity. Wilfred slapped her, and Julia raised her voice at her husband. Wilfred says she is no longer their child, and she needed to leave their home for good. She could die on the street, and he would not care. He rushed out of the room and told Augustus to leave his home immediately, or he will unleash hell on earth for the both of us. Augustus and Priscilla now have no permanent home. I offered him shelter, but he said that it would be a bad thing if we were seen together. He will either take refuge at a friend's home or find quiet in the safety of the laboratory. I asked where Priscilla was going to stay. He said she would go back to Rome and live out her days there with the mystery man. I hope she finds peace and happiness. I told my lord that we can live in Rome together while I continue with my studies, and maybe it will be possible for us to move away to a far-off country where no one will trouble us anymore. We can take an expedition to South Africa. I can create my sculptures while he finds new worlds for us to live on. He only nodded and kissed my head. Dreams are not essential for this type of chaos. One day I dream of green hills with the house sitting on the top, trees decorating our land, birds of all kinds of colors and species visiting us as we make a wonderful life. There will come a day when all of the bad will transform into good and I can fully breathe as I am functioned to. But for now, diary, I have to stay aware of everyone. even my parents, because I never know who will turn their back on me like Priscilla. I want her to live a happy life and be able to find true love in this desolate place. Augustus continued to rediscover my body, and I was scared as to what could happen if someone saw us in the night consumed in one another's affairs. He did not care who saw it in this moment, for he ripped off my shirt and licked my teat. The feeling never gets old, and so I was convinced to make myself into his masterpiece for that one night. We did it, diary. Under the moonlight and stars, we did it. The fear of being caught made the process much more sensual. Not being able to see him for that long duration had me in shattered pieces, so I had to take the opportunity. Who knows how long it will be until we meet again? What do you want me to say? I am a young, budding flower waiting to be pollinated, and I need the stinging tail of a strong man to achieve greatness. He felt good on top and underneath. Each side and curve was a force of savory love, and I did not want to stop until there was no choice but to stop. This man loves me. Maybe that is why Priscilla will not save me. She witnessed a love that she can never have happen to me, and it turned her heart resentful. No matter what, her love will only have value in the physical form of money and offspring. I told Augustus that I needed to visit Priscilla, but he said it is too dangerous for us both, and he will kill himself if I were to be harmed in any form. I understood and retreated my proposition. After our bodies recovered from our own voyage, I told my lord that I had to be back home before my mother got too suspicious about me. He understood and made sure I returned home safely. We kissed once more, and he disappeared into the night. I do not know where he is exactly, but I do pray to the universe out there beyond my reach that my love is safe. When I returned home, my mother was sitting and having a conversation with Father Edmund. My heart skipped a beat or two. Father Edmund told me to come and join him, so I did. My mother then asked me if I was a sodomite. I politely said no, and Father Edmund strikes me in the back of my head. Mother asked me again, and I said no. He strikes me again and yelled that I was a sodomite and a liar. Two things that God despises most of all in man. He grabbed my hands and told me he knew everything. There was no reason to hide any more from my distraught sin. My father and brother joined in a few moments later, and Father Edmund told both of them about my affair with Augustus. They spit in my face and demand that I go to church and repent my sin, or else I will be summoned before a group of high priests for a crime committed against the church. I said that there is nothing wrong with my love, and I have more than I could ever want from Augustus. My father said that if I want to live a life of vileness and disgust, I will have to do it somewhere else because I cannot stay in his house any longer. I will no longer be his son. I will have no association to this family anymore. I did not fight with him. Tomorrow I will be getting my belongings and finding a place of my own to call home, and I can finally live in my happiness without the annoyance of anyone's opinion. Before I leave home for good, Father Edmund has been ordered to take me to Baleschia di Sant'Ibero di Castello to repent and ask the High One above for forgiveness. I cannot sway his mind in any other direction, so I have no choice. Please, keep me in your thoughts, my sweet, friendly diary. I hope to talk soon. Stefan. January 17th, 1751. Diary. My life has turned for the absolute worse. Everything has been taken away from me. I no longer can see my family anymore, and I am leaving Priscilla behind in my memory. My dreams of becoming a great artist have been stolen by mad-brained men, and I am at the mercy of my God. The one true God I know will never forsake me. Augustus. I gathered as much as I could and transported my life out of the comfort of my home. My parents did not wish me farewell, and they did not look at me for another moment. I could see my mother crying, and I wanted to comfort her, but my father shunned me, made me feel dirty and unwanted. My brother did not send off a good passing either. I told him to take care of my mother, and he only cursed me to hell. I cannot come to the wedding with my sin, or I will be physically harmed. I suppose I should have been prepared for this to occur in my life rather soon. Is anyone truly ready to leave the life they have always known? Anyway, I was walking down a deeply narrow street with no knowledge of where I would sleep. The moon was bright and shining like a pearl being unearthed for the first time. While admiring the cool wind and high moon, Father Edmund exposed himself in the shadows and made my spine tingle for a quick moment. The next instant, I was being directed toward the church not too far away from my home, or what used to be home. I saw crowds of people. Some I knew from school, some were neighbors, and the most familiar faces were Priscilla and her parents, my parents and brother, and the high council of the church. The group of men all wore red blood capes and pitch black shirts with emblems of a red Catholic cross. Everyone around the church held torches with flames that made me sweat in desperation for my love to come in the darkness and take me away from this night terror. Father Edmund forced me on my knees while he and Wilfred joined the high council. The big announcement of my sexual deviance was spread to the crowd of viewers, watching my every move and waiting for me to be slaughtered. One of the church councils, who looked to be 1,000 years old and ready to move on to his boring eternal life, walked toward me and gave me the holy book. I did not know what was about to happen. Complete silence, with only the sounds of flames and wind chill in the air. Maybe I was in the wrong ceremony, for I am not a witch or servant of the deadly one. The old man explained to me that my crime is punishable, and I have only two options. I could ask the Holy One for forgiveness and go seek refuge in the church as an apprentice to one of the priests, or be put to death by fire. My heart dropped, and I heard my mother's breath being sucked out of her lungs. She screamed my name, and my father silenced her with his hand. My eyes began to water, my hand shaking as I see the Bible judging me. Wilfred looked at me and smiled. Now I have developed pure anger in my heart for him. He's the reason I'm kneeling here. None of this would have happened if it wasn't for him. I closed my eyes and rejected the offer. I would much rather die and have the world at peace with my passing than to live in my own dissatisfaction, knowing that I will never be joyful with a woman in my arms. I screamed to the council and told them that I would not bow down to the church and their monarchist system. Wilfred told the crowd to help him in tying me to a pole. Priscilla ran toward me and covered me in her arms. She cried out to her father for an alternative. There must be some way to keep me alive. I am only a 17-year-old boy who has yet to do great things and assist the world with progression. Wilfred told her to marry the prince, and I will be set free. The chaotic battle of the crowd minimized, and I put all my focus on Priscilla. We gazed into each other, and I knew what she was feeling without words, and she knew what I wanted to say. This was my last chance, my last hope in a friend. I needed her urgently to call off this death curse and let me leave a free man. Tears running down her face as she said sorry. She could not let herself do it, not even for me. Then she said that she told her father about my sexual behavior. Diary. I trusted her. How could she? Everything that I have subjugated led up to this moment because of her. She said that it was not intentional, and she begged for my mercy. I pushed her off of my body, and the crowd lunged at me. People from all sides carried me to a wooden pole stacked on top of sticks and logs. I thought that this was my last scene. This was the end for me. Wilfred said I have one last chance before the burning begins. I looked at Priscilla and my mother crying ceaselessly and said to the crowd that even though they might celebrate my death and continue with life, there will be more Stephans out there roaming around looking for kindness and understanding of others. There are other boys who would not be afraid to adventure outside of normality. The world will change for the better of my people. I may die so that others like me can live long and turn the tables of cities like Venice. I regret nothing at all. The fire started, and in an instant I was screaming. The crowd cheered on the roaring fire, and I saw delight in the eyes of the council. In the far-off distance, Augustus ran faster than a horse to come to my rescue. The men fought against him, but my lord is strong and powerful. It was a sight to see, although not pleasant. My mother tried as much as she could to help Augustus with the men, but one of them pushed her to the ground, and my father began fighting. The celebration turned into war. My eyes were blurred by smoke as the fiery flames engulfed the wood and creeped up against my feet. Dancing demons of fire jumped onto the sticks, inching closer to me. The ballet of hell wanted me and only me. The devil licked his lips in anticipation for my blood. I screamed louder. I did not know what to say, so I kept screaming until Priscilla climbed the pole and helped untie me. I got down, and she wanted to ask for my sincere forgiveness, but I had no pathos for her any longer. I ran off toward a gondola and called out for Augustus. He then ran toward me and directed us up the river to the mainland. The council gathered patrons to seek us out and capture me to finish what they started. After they are done with me, Augustus will be the next to join in on the ballet with all of his demons. We are now hiding in a city called Padua until we can sort of plan for us to leave Italy for good. These are horrific circumstances for Augustus and I, but I am happy that we are together. We do not go outside of this abandoned home too often unless we need food and clean water, essentially. This is not the life I imagined for myself, but in the future, things will be better for me. I can feel it. In all honesty, if I have permission to be honest, I really thought Priscilla would be by my side. That was a friend that I cherished like my own sister. We encouraged each other to pursue our dreams. She was there when I would cry because of family quarrels. I was there for her when she had food thrown at her on stage. I was there when she felt lonely and never thought Cupid would deliver a worthy man to her. But now I see that she could not even stand up for her own brother, so why would she give me the pampering treatment? For as long as I live, I never want to see or hear the mention of her. She is better to think about as dead. No one cares about me, quite like... Wait, diary. We see flames and hear noises. I will finish my thoughts later. Stefan. January 25th, 1751. Excuse me for the last abrupt goodbye in my letters to you. The council found us, and Augustus had to help me gather my belongings and run to another location. Surprisingly, I am back in Verona on the outskirts looking toward the city. It reminds me of the time I went with Priscilla. Times were different and more enjoyable for my spirit. Now I am back for a chance to survive, not to feel luxury. We are now low on food and water. I have not seen the sunlight in 3 days, and I have this unpleasant smell hovering around me. No one will offer us a clean bath, for they think we are insane beggars looking to harm men's wives, when the truth is that I just want to wash this dirt off of me. I feel like a rat instead of an aristocratic lady. I sometimes think of what it would feel like to be clean and have warm food again. Augustus is in a worse situation, however. His valuables and belongings are all back in Venice, but it is too dangerous to travel back there and risk the misfortune of being burned alive to meet our Creator. He has no clothes, no liras, no shoes, nothing. I managed to save some monetary resource, but I only have enough to last another 5 days or so. Whatever happens, we need to get out of Italy and find work so we can save up and buy our own home. I will talk to my lord about traveling to France, or maybe making the long trip to England. While this tragedy is unfolding, I have to give up going back to art school. I know someone from Venice will go to see if I am there. Augustus does not want me to risk anything. He has to make the hard decision of leaving all of his research behind. All his discoveries will likely be credited to someone else. The thought of him leaving the comfort of his life for me is remarkable, almost romantic in a way, like Romeo. Not exactly the same condition, but similar in thought of him willing to do anything for the sake of my affection. We do not have much, but we do have each other. Right now, I think that is all I need. A true friend and lover to guide me through the rough stages of youth and help me become a better man so that I can be a healthier influence or mentor to other boys like us. I know you are wondering about our affairs and the object of physicality, or maybe is it just I? Well, congratulations, because we have made love still. Not often due to our stationary predicaments, but when we feel it is safe and appropriate, we combine our spirits to create music. You know, from my very first entry, I have admitted that I wanted to live with a man, have my own prince to take care of me, and made sure I was happy. I got my wish, that is certain, but I must say to be cautious of what your wishful concept might be, for you never know how the outcome will present itself. I have my devoted God, but I am living in a tiny home, with 4 brick walls mocking me every hour. People on the dirty streets cursing one another, drunkard beggars, and cheap whores looking for a quick fix. I have never seen this side of town before because Priscilla always stayed with the upper class society folk, where streets were clean and lined with fresh flowers, fancy boutiques with gowns more costly than a ship. People used manners and men were charismatic while women were clever in the tongue. Now life has shown me a darker side. My rainbow has been decimated and the storm rolls in once again. I know I digress from Augustus's godly body, but this is important. I never knew how gloomy my world could be if I were sincere in the slightest. I have my wish, but it has cost me everything and more. Going back to my God, he makes me melt. He makes me feel like a gorgeous long-necked swan with pure white feathers, eyes as black as pitch, expansive, delicate wings. I know that I am safe in his arms. Though my troubles haunt my every waking moment, I have him to heal my mind. He is much stronger than me both in spirit and body. He believes that wherever we go, we will live a good quality life now that we are not hiding under the moon and stars. I will miss our stargazing adventures dearly, but we have better journeys waiting for us. Augustus holds me tight in the night. We kiss for what feels like hours. He is gentle with his hands and always asks me what will make me feel like a queen. He pulsates and turns me inside out. The coarse nature of his animalistic behavior blends so eloquently with his angel-like movements. It amazes me to no end. You already know what he is capable of because I have told you numerous times, and you have enough information to know that he loves me. I am not sure in anything at the current moment, but I am sure of him. Another thing I should confess to you is why I always capitalize the H whenever I am referring to Augustus. Well, in the Bible, Jesus and God are always written with a capital J or G to signify their importance to religion and their rank in the universe. I decided to do the same for my love. He is the God of my life, and I wanted him to feel respected and recognized distinctively, so I made sure to put him in a higher rank than other men that have been mentioned in your pages. Augustus is special to me, so he deserves to be on the same pedestal as this universally powerful being they called God. You are most likely not interested in it, but I think it is a nice gesture to show my love. He has not been introduced to you as of yet. Introduced. I sound like a fool. Introduce him to you like you are a real person who so happens to know all of my deepest feelings. I have not shown him your beauteous pages. I have not found the right time or occasion to expose all of you. When the time comes, I know you will be ready. Since I do not have his sister any more, I suppose this makes you my new best friend. You never talk back, never disagree or agree. You calm my mind. You listen and absorb. You understand me and adore me for all that I am. You have saved me. The day is getting older by the minute, so I think I will put you down and hide you somewhere safe and warm. I will talk to Augustus about our next plan for the escape to France or England. and I have to go to the marketplace and find food for us. I promise that I will talk again soon. Please do not worry about me too heavily. Monomela. Good night. Stefan.